Hello and welcome to Shikara Academy's UPSC Mains PYQ series. So in this live series, we are discussing all the GS mains questions asked by UPSC over the past years. So in this fourth session, we will be discussing 5 questions. That is question number 16 to 20 asked in the UPSC Civil Service Examination 2024 in GS paper 2. So let's begin. Now, this question was asked in 2024 General Studies Paper 2, that is question number 16. The Citizen Charter has been landmark initiative in ensuring citizen-centric administration. So it is talking about Citizen Charter. Please note that this is not the question. This is just the introductory statement. But it is yet to reach its full potential. So till now, we are given a introductory statement, or we are given a statement on which we have to build the answer. Identify the factors hindering the realization of its promise and suggest measures to overcome them. So it's a question on citizen charter that is a part of the syllabus in governance, a 15-mark question that has to be answered in 250 words. So we are given an introductory statement in which it is talking about the citizen charter, and the question is asking about the factors that are hindering the realization. The factors, we have to discuss the factors, and we have to give measures, or we have to give suggestions. Now, discussing the approach, seeing the approach. So, in introduction, we describe what is a citizen charter, because it is the introductory line in the question has to be dealt with in the introduction only. Okay. So the introductory line in the question is talking about citizen charter. So we describe citizen charter in the introduction. Then in body, we write the factors hindering the realization of citizen charter, because we have to address the demand of question. Here, the demand of the question is being addressed. And what is the demand of question? We have to discuss the factors and we have to suggest the measure. So both the factors and the measures will be written in the body. Then in conclusion, we write a forward looking or a way forward. A conclusion that is forward looking, like it looks into the future, we talk about in futuristic terms. Now let's start with the introduction. So the Citizens Charter, introduced in India in 1997 under the Sevottam model, was aimed at making public administration more citizen-centric by ensuring transparency, accountability, and quality service delivery. So this is our introductory line. So in introduction, we usually write 2 lines. First is an introductory line in which we address the demand, like we describe, we address the introductory line that is given in the question. And in the second line, we try to connect the introduction with the body. So second will be our connecting line. And here the connecting line, however, despite being a progressive step, it is struggled to realize its full potential. And why it is struggled to realize the full potential? Then we'll discuss the factors. In the body, we will be discussing the factors. The first factor is the lack of legal backing. The charter is not legally enforceable, making it non-binding for the public institution. Even though the public institution, they come out with the citizens charter, but they are not legally enforceable. You cannot take the organization or the public institution to court for not following the public charter, for not following the citizen charter. Then this is a factor that hinders its realization. Second is poor awareness among citizens. Citizens are not aware. Many citizens remain unaware of their rights under the charter, limiting its impact. Third is the absence of monitoring mechanisms. There is little effort to track the performance or penalize delay or lapses in the service delivery. First, it doesn't have a legal backing. Then there is absence of monitoring mechanisms. Fourth is the vague and the non-quantifiable commitments. Several charters of various institutions fail to clearly define the timeframes or the quality standards, making their evaluation difficult. Okay. So firstly, we do not have a monitoring mechanism. Then the evaluation, because of the vagueness, because of the non-quantifiable commitments, it's very hard to gauge, or it's very hard to evaluate. Then there is low ownership among bureaucracy. The bureaucratic culture is still the supply driven rather than the demand or servants oriented. Then there is lack of grievance redressal mechanism. Many departments and many of the institutions have no clear link between the charter promises and the grievance redressal. Then these were the five or six factors. These were the five factors. Now we have to write the measures. The second part of the body, in the second part of the body, we have to provide this, we have to suggest the measures to overcome the challenges. And these are our own measures. Okay. First is enact a Citizens Charter Act. We have to provide them the legal backing. So we have to grant the legal status to the charter to ensure accountability. Second is the awareness campaign. So all these factors or all these are also the challenges. So if the questions ask about the challenges, you can also write all these points. So accordingly, we are dealing with one challenge at a time. So first is providing legality. Second is increasing the awareness. Use mass media, digital platforms to educate citizens about their service rights. Third is the standardization of charters. We have to develop model charters with measurable service standards for all the departments. Okay, we have to standardize these charters. No vagueness uh, and nothing should like no vagueness should be there. Fourth is the capacity building. We have to train officials, we have to train bureaucrats to internalize the citizen centric values and practices. Okay, we have to empower our civil services in this regard. Fourth is the integration with the digital governance. We have to link the charters with e-governance tools and online grievance portals such as CP grams. Okay, in this way it will help in grievance redressal. Now, after discussing the body, after discussing the factors and the measures, we have to write a forward looking conclusion. Now, in conclusion, there is it is a general approach that we write two lines in conclusion, just as we are writing two lines in introduction, one an introductory line, second a connecting line. Then also in conclusion, we have to write a summarizing line and then a forward looking line. So while the Citizens Charter remains a transformative idea, its success depends on the strong political will, administrative reform, legal enforcement, and public participation. A citizen first approach in letter and spirit is essential to deliver its original promise. So, this is our way forward, or it is a forward looking conclusion. Now, moving on to the next question, that is the question number 17 of UPSC Mains 2024 General Studies Paper 2. In a crucial domain like the public healthcare system in the Indian state should play a vital role to contain the adverse impact of marketization of the system. So this is our introductory line in which it is saying that public health care system is a crucial domain and the state of India, that is the Republic of India, should play a vital role in containing the adverse effect of marketization of the system. So there has been a trend of the marketization of the public healthcare system in India, and what vital role the government can play in order to contain or in order to reduce the adverse impact of this marketization. We have to suggest some measures through which the state can enhance the reach of the public healthcare at the grassroots level. And we have to highlight the adverse impact. Okay. In the first half of the answer, we have to write the adverse impact of marketization. Then we have to suggest some measures. Now, mapping it with the syllabus, it is a 15-mark question, has to be answered for 250 words. Mapping it with the syllabus, it has come under GS paper 2, so social justice and governance and issues relating to the development and management of social services like the health sector. Now, the approach that we will be taking in writing this answer is that in introduction, we describe India's public healthcare system because in the introductory line of the question, it is talking about India's public healthcare system. So we will be addressing that introductory line in the introduction itself. Then in body, we write the adverse impact of marketization and then measures to enhance the public healthcare reach. Now, please note that this adverse impact of marketization is not explicitly asked in the question. Okay, we are just given that in a crucial domain like the public healthcare system, we have to contain the adverse impact of the marketization of the system. The question is on is asking only the suggestions and only the measures through which the state or the government can can enhance its reach of the public healthcare at the grassroots level. But it is a implicit. Such type of question is implicit. Implicitly, we have to write about the adverse impact of marketization because it is a 15-mark question. Had it been a 10-mark question, then we could have skipped the adverse impact of marketization and directly moved on to the measures of the uh, measures to enhance the public healthcare reach. So this is the demand of the question. And in conclusion, we write a way forward or a forward-looking line. Starting with the introduction, India's public healthcare system plays a vital role in ensuring equitable access to health services. However, with increasing marketization, private healthcare dominates, often excluding economically weaker sections. So this is our introductory line. And then we are elaborating about the increasing marketization. It is imperative that the Indian state intervenes effectively to strengthen the public health infrastructure, especially at the grassroots level. And this is our connecting line. Okay. So in introduction, we have introduced by writing about India's public healthcare system, and then we have written about the increasing marketization and what is the impact, in brief, the impact of marketization, and then the connecting line, what the Indian state can do. So first we have to discuss the adverse impact of marketization. High out-of-pocket expenditure, because a large percentage of India's population falls into poverty due to medical expenses. So it is a general saying that the lower middle class in India is just one hospitalization or one hospital bill away from becoming poor. So that is why, because the healthcare industry in India is very expensive, especially the private sector. Then there is inequitable access. The private healthcare is concentrated mainly in the urban area. So the private players, the private hospitals, the big corporate private hospitals, they are located in the urban centers, especially in the metro cities, and it marginalizes the rural population because they have to travel a lot in order to reach the cities. Then there is profit-driven services. Their commercial interest often override the patient welfare because these private hospitals are corporatized. So their main focus is on generating more and more profit. They have their commercial interests in everything over the patient welfare. Now, what measures can the government of India or the Indian state can take to enhance public healthcare reach? Okay, the reach of public healthcare. First, we have to strengthen the primary health infrastructure. Upgrade the sub-centers and the PHCs, that primary health centers, with adequate staff, medicines, and diagnostics. Then increase, firstly, strengthen the public health infrastructure at the grassroots level, then increase the public health expenditure. We have to raise the health spending to at least 2.5% of GDP as per the National Health Policy of 2017. Then we have to deploy community health workers, train and empower the ASHA workers and the local volunteers to provide the last mile services. It is important to strengthen the primary health infrastructure. Along with, we have to deploy the community health workers so that the healthcare, the public healthcare, reaches to the grassroots level or to the ground level. We have to integrate the Ayush services, promote affordable and preventive care through the Ayush in the rural areas, because the Ayush contains of Ayurvedic, Yunan, homeopathy, Siddha. So these are relatively affordable. Medicine, these type of medicines are more affordable as compared to uh, the allopathy ones. Then we have to leverage the technology. Use telemedicine and mobile health clinics to reach remote populations. Here, the implementation or application of science do come. So we have to leverage the technology in order to use telemedicine. Telemedicine is the keyword. Then we have to ensure the universal health coverage. Strengthen schemes like Ayushman Bharat, which provides the health cover or health insurance, and expand coverage to include outpatient care and diagnostics. We have to then promote the local governance participation. We have to empower the Panchayati Raj institutions to monitor and manage the local health centers. So the focus should be that we have to enhance the public healthcare reach. The reach should be at the grassroots level. We have to enhance the reach to the grassroots level or to the ground level by strengthening the primary health infrastructure, by empowering the uh, Panchayati Raj institutions, by deploying community health workers, by training them, empowering them. So in this way, we can increase the reach of the healthcare system. Then in conclusion, we write to counter the ill effects of marketization, the state must proactively invest in public health infrastructure, ensure universal and affordable access, along with building trust in the government health system. So this is the summarizing line. Health equity is foundational to social justice and the national development. So this is our way forward. Moving on to the next question, that is 2024 General Studies Paper 2, question number 18. E-governance is not just about routine application of digital technology in the service delivery process. It is as much about multifarious interactions for ensuring transparency and accountability. So this whole is our introductory line. And in this introductory lines context, we have to evaluate the role of interactive service model of e-governance. Okay. So the main demand of the question is that we have to evaluate the role of interactive service model of e-governance. Okay. A 15-mark question, we have to answer it in 250 words. Mapping it with the syllabus, we can see that it has been asked from the subject of governance, that is e-governance, its applications, models, successes, limitations, and potential. So it is based on the topic of e-governance. Seeing the approach, because the question is talking about e-governance, so in introduction, we have to describe e-governance and the interactive service model. Then in body, we write about the interactive service model ISM in bit more detail. And then we have to write the role of ISM in enhancing governance. That is, we are evaluating. We are evaluating its role. So we are in a way addressing the demand of the question, because the demand of question says that we have to evaluate the role of the ISM model. And then in conclusion, we write a forward-looking conclusion or way forward. Starting with introduction. So e-governance beyond digitizing the services. It encompasses participatory governance by enhancing transparency, accountability, and citizen engagement. So till now, in the first line, we have described the e-governance, or we have highlighted what is e-governance. Then in the second line of introduction, we describe the ISN. So the interactive service model represents a dynamic phase of e-governance where two-way communication between the government and the citizens fosters trust and responsive administration. So in introduction, we have described the e-governance as well as the ISM model, that is the interactive service model. Then we have to write in bit more detail about the ISM. So ISM is the third stage in the evolution of e-governance. So what were the initial two stages? First stage was the information stage, in which there was one-way dissemination of data, that is from government to citizen. From government to citizen. Then in the second stage, we have the transaction stage, in which citizens were availing the services digitally. Now we have this third stage, interactive stage. This is real-time, a two-way interactions for feedback, grievance redressal, and collaborative decision making. Two-way interaction, that is between government and citizen and vice versa. Now, what is the role of this ISM model in enhancing the governance that we have to write? First is the transparency and accountability. So platforms like the RTI Online, MyGov, CP Grams, it allows citizens to question and monitor the governance processes. Second, we have is the participatory policy making. Tools like mygov.in invite suggestions for policies, draft bills, and budget proposals, making governance participatory. Third, real-time feedback and grievance redressal. Interactive portals and apps such as Umang, Digital Seva, Jan Sunwai ensure swift grievance redressal and feedback loops. So all these are the role of ISM. Fourth, we have is the efficient public service delivery. We can use the chatbots, live help desks, and social media responses to enable the responsive governance. And finally, bridging the digital divide. Okay. The digital divide is a huge problem in India because even though government is trying to increase the digitization in the country, but certain people they do not have access to digital services. They are not aware of the digital services, so there is a massive digital divide. The local language interfaces, the mobile-based services, and the common service centers, they empower the rural citizens to interact with the state. So the urban population, up to a certain extent, they are able to avail or they are able to access these digital services, but the rural people, especially in the because of the language divide or the language issue, they are not able to access these digital services effectively. But the ISM model is now bridging the digital divide by having the local language interface, mobile based services, and the most importantly, the common service centers. Now, in conclusion, we can write about the interactive service model transforms governance from a monologue to a dialogue. That is, from one way channel of information, we can have a two-way interaction. It fosters citizen trust, enhances service delivery, and ensures democratic accountability. So, this is the summarizing line. Then, a forward looking line for inclusive governance, India must continue to invest in robust, secure, and citizen friendly digital ecosystem. This is a forward looking line. Moving on to the next question, that is 2024 GS mains question, GS2, question number 19. Terrorism has become a significant threat to global peace and security. Evaluate the effectiveness of United Nations Security Council's Counter-Terrorism Committee and its associated bodies in addressing and mitigating this threat at the international level. So this is a question on international relations, okay? And it can also be asked or certain points you can introduce, you can write in the answer from the internal security perspective as well, because this question is focusing on terrorism. So we are given an introductory line that is terrorism has become a significant threat to global peace and security. This is just a vague and an introductory line, but the question asks us to evaluate the effectiveness of the CTC, that is Counter-Terrorism Committee, in addressing and mitigating the threat at the international level. So, mapping it with the syllabus, we can see that it has been asked from the subject of international relations and important international institutions. So, we are talking about UNSC's CTC. Now, the approach that we'll be taking, because the question is asking about the CTC, that is Counter-Terrorism Committee, we will describe the UNSC's CTC in the introduction. Then in body, we write about the role and contributions of the CTCs and its limitations and challenges. And then we write a forward-looking conclusion. The introduction. Terrorism poses a grave threat to international peace, security, and development. This is the introductory line. So we are given an introductory line in the question. We have dealt it with the introductory line in the answer, in the introduction only. Then the United Nations Security Council established the Counter-Terrorism Committee in the aftermath of 9/11 attacks to coordinate the international efforts against terrorism. So in 2001, September 11, 2001, there was a massive terrorist attack on the World Trade Center in the United States. And after that, the United Nations Security Council has made this counterterrorism committee. Now it works under the mandate of Resolution 1373 of 2001. Then the role and contributions of this CTC, Counterterrorism Committee. First is monitoring compliance. It ensures the member states implement measures such as criminalizing terrorism, freezing terrorist assets, and improving the border security. Second contribution is that it helps in capacity building through its effective executive directorate. CTC provides the technical assistance and training to countries with weak counter-terrorism framework. Third, we have the promotion of international cooperation. It encourages information sharing. It encourages intelligence cooperation as well as harmonization of the legal standards among the states. Fourth is the human rights based approach. It works to ensure the counterterrorism effort respects the international human rights obligation, because we do not want that the human rights of certain individuals shall be suppressed because of these anti-terrorism operations. Then the limitations and challenges that this CTC faces is the lack of binding enforcement power. The CTC can only recommend and monitor, but it lacks coercive authority to penalize for non-compliance. That lies with the UNSC only. Okay, so this committee is just a recommending body. It is just a monitoring body, and it does not have the coercive authority to penalize. Then second is the absence of universal definition of terrorism. This is the most significant limitation when we talk about the terrorism at the global level, because there is no universal definition. Countries accordingly they define good terrorism and bad terrorism. Okay, so there are disagreements among the member states hinder unified action and legal coherence. So that one country might feel terrorism is happening somewhere, but other country might not feel that because of this lack of universal definition. Third is the politicization of the counterterrorism measures. Selective designation of terror groups undermines this credibility and consistency. Because of this absence of universal definition of terrorism, the politicization of this terrorist activities or the counterterrorism measures is taking place. Because what might be a terror group for India, China and Pakistan might not recognize it. Or what might be a terror group for some Middle East country, that might not be a problem, or India might not have designated it as a terror group. Fourth is the underutilization of the intelligence sharing. Lack of trust among the nations limits the real-time intelligence cooperation. Because of the absence of universal definition, there is politicization, and this politicization is now leading to the underutilization because there is trust deficit. So, politicization of these counterterrorism measures has inculcated the lack of trust among the nations, because India as a nation cannot trust the Western bloc or the bloc of China, Pakistan for its intelligence sharing regarding anti-terrorism. Then, in conclusion, we can write about CTC has played a key role in setting global norms and facilitating the cooperation. Okay, so this is the summarizing line. However, its effectiveness is curtailed by geopolitical interest, definitional ambiguities, and the enforcement of lack of enforcement power. So this is the summary of the answer that we have written till now. Then the forward-looking line, after the summarizing line, we have to write a forward-looking line. To combat terrorism effectively, global consensus and depoliticized cooperation under CTC framework are essential. Moving on to the final question, that is 2024 GS paper 2, question number 20. Discuss the geopolitical and geostrategic importance of Maldives for India with a focus on global trade and energy flows. So the question is directly asking us to discuss the political and geostrategic importance of Maldives for India. And the special focus should be on trade and energy. Further, also discuss about how this relationship affects India's maritime security and regional stability amidst the international competition. Because of the competition in the Indian Ocean region, how is India's relationship with Maldives is affecting India's maritime strategy, India's maritime security, and regional stability? A 15-mark question has to be answered in 250 words. Mapping it with the syllabus, it has been asked from the subject of international relations, that is India and its neighborhood relations, because Maldives is considered as a maritime neighbor of India. Now, the approach that we write here is that we describe the importance of Maldives in the introduction. We just highlight the importance of Maldives. Then in body, we write in detail about importance in the global trade and energy flow and the importance of the relationship on the maritime security and regional stability. That is, we are addressing the demand of the question. In the body, we have to address the demand of the question, and then in conclusion, we write a forward-looking line or forward-looking conclusion. Starting with the introduction, the Maldives, an archipelago in the Indian Ocean, holds the strategic value for India due to its location near key sea lanes of communication, or the SLOCs. Okay, so that is the highlight or the significance of Maldives, that It lies in the Indian Ocean and has a strategic value because of its location near the key sea lanes of communication. As India aspires to be the net security provider in the Indian Ocean region, its ties with Maldives are crucial for trade, energy security, and maritime stability. So, this is our connecting line, a line which connects the introduction with the body. So, it prepares the examiner as to what is written next. Now, in writing the body, the importance in global trade and energy flow. Importance of Maldives in global trade and energy flow. First is the sea lane uh, dominance. So nearly 80% of India's imports and significant trade pass through the 8-degree and 10-degree channels, which are close to Maldives. Okay. Second is the strategic location. The Maldives acts as the watchtower in the Indian Ocean. It offers strategic oversight in the global shipping route. So all the shipping routes that are passing through the northern Indian Ocean, especially. So it acts as a watchtower from which, if we have a base in Maldives, if we have a presence in Maldives, we can have a oversight of all these shipping routes. Then there is blue economy and tourism. India benefits from the cooperative ventures of fisheries, ecotourism, and disaster management in the region because um, Maldives lies in the tropical waters and it's entirely an island nation. So it is hit by various disasters from time to time. Okay. So India as a nation provides the disaster management support. With cooperation, having cooperation with Maldives also increases our ventures in fisheries and the ecotourism. Then the relationship of India, so India's relationship with Maldives having an impact on the maritime security and the regional stability in the region. First is countering China's influence. So, amid China's growing presence through the string of pearl strategy, Maldives' alignment with India is vital to counterbalance its strategic encirclement. So, China is strategically encircling India in the uh, along the coast of India with different islands, making bases in Gwadar, in Hambantota, in Myanmar, in Maldives. So this way, China, with this string of pearls, is trying to encircle India or to contain India in the Indian Ocean. Second is the defense cooperation. India has helped build the coastal surveillance system and trained the Maldivian defense personnel, offered naval assistance, and reinforcing the maritime security. Third is the Operation Cactus in the year 1988. India's swift military intervention to thwart a coup showcased its capability and commitment to the Maldivian security. So these are the highlights of our relationship with Maldives. Fourth is the cooperative frameworks. Platforms like the Indian Ocean Rim Association and the Colombo Security Conclave help India and Maldives to collaborate on the regional challenges. So these IORA and the Colombo Security Conclave provide a multilateral platform on which we India and Maldives can engage. Now, writing the conclusion, the Maldives is integral to India's maritime and energy security architecture. Strengthening bilateral ties is not only essential for economic and strategic interests, but also for maintaining the regional peace amidst the increasing great power rivalry in the Indo-Pacific. So, this is our concluding line or the summarizing line. And here we have the second line is the way forward line or the forward looking line. Okay. The PDF of this PPT and the model answers will be available to you on the Telegram channel as well as the WhatsApp channel of Shikara